This LOS is distinguished between cost push and demand pull inflation. Unemployment and inflation. So now we're going to look at sources of inflation. The first one is cost push. Rising costs to businesses result in increased prices to consumers. So the cost to businesses have increased, and those increased costs have been pushed onto the consumer in the form of increased prices. Okay, I think that's a fairly easy one to understand. But there's a measurement here. The unit labor cost, ULC, equals the total labor compensation per hour per worker divided by the output per worker, okay, which is O. So that's just a simple formula, W over O. Demand pull, the price increases because of an increase in demand. So there's more demand, so it's pulling the prices up. The measures, the money supply indicators and money supply growth compared with the growth in the nominal GDP. So the velocity of money is the ratio of nominal GDP to the money supply and is a measure of the likelihood of inflationary pressures. So think about that. There's increase in the money supply. People have more money, increase the velocity of money. There's more demand. That's going to pull the prices up. So measures of inflation expectations. So a few bullet points here. Extrapolation of trends in inflation, surveys of inflation expectations, and finally comparison of yields on inflation-adjusted securities with non-inflation adjusted securities. So we'll do one practice question to finish this LOS. What is the most important effect of labor productivity in a cost-push inflation scenario? A, rising productivity indicates a strong economy and a bias towards inflation. B, the productivity level determines the economy's status relative to its natural rate of unemployment. Or C, as productivity growth proportionally exceeds wage increases, product price increases are less likely. Okay, C is correct. For productivity or output per hour, the faster it can grow, the further that wages can rise without putting pressure on business costs per unit of output. Okay, I'm just going to finish this LOS by showing the importance of going back and scanning through the text and looking at all the blue boxes. As I've said many times throughout these series of videos, that the examples in the blue box are very important, as with the practice problems at the end of each chapter. So for example, in this reading, you can see there's a number of examples, and obviously these videos and slides are meant to be a review. They're not recreating everything, and that's why I said as part of the process, you need to go back to the text and follow up and read through the examples. Videos and slides are always a complement to the official curriculum. So here we can see that there's some nice questions with regards to the velocity of money. And again, here's a question on cost push inflation. Most likely occurs when A, unemployment rates are low, B, unemployment rates are high, or C, unemployment is either high or low. So if we just scroll down to check the answer for A, we can see for number one, A is correct. When unemployment is below the natural accelerating inflation rate of unemployment, there's a shortage of labor that pushes up the labor cost. Okay, so you can see that one for velocity of money, cost push inflation most likely occurs when unemployment rates are low. Well, that makes sense. If unemployment rates are low, then people are demanding higher wages, perhaps, which is going to be increase the labor costs, and that's going to be a cost push. If I scroll down a little bit more, here's another question, number 3, on demand pull. Demand pull inflation, A, is a discredited concept. B, depends on the movements in commodity prices. Or C, reflects the state of economic activity relative to potential. So just scroll down on number 3. We can see that C is correct. When the economy is operating above its potential capacity allowed by the resources available, inflation will start to rise. So that's an interesting one for number 3. I could be, demand pull. Is it commodity prices? No, that doesn't make sense because commodity prices are input. That sounds more like a cost push. Okay, a discredited concept. Well, no, I wouldn't say that demand pull inflation is discredited. So therefore, I may not be 100% sure about C, but probably that is correct. It reflects the state of economic activity relative to potential. So that's the last point that I wanted to make, is that at the end of reviewing slides, videos, doing practice questions, the important step is go back to the text and review the summary for each chapter, review the glossary for the important terms and definitions, and then look at the blue box examples and do any of the questions there. Of course, all the practice problems at the end of each chapter. And that's the last for this LOS. Thank you.